Boston Celtics have just eliminated the Cavaliers in round 2 of the 2010 playoffs, sending LeBron James into one of the biggest off seasons in NBA history.
In this fall, man, it's very tough. In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to...
However, today, history changes forever.
Need to convert here. LeBron going downhill. And he absolutely crushed it. And he was fouled. Shrugging the shoulders, saying...
Because in this reality, LeBron James is in fact committing to the city of Cleveland, agreeing to return to the franchise and continue to work towards bringing a banner to this city. But of course, that wouldn't happen overnight, because even though LeBron continued to be one of the best players in the league, there was a reason he left for Miami in the first place. The rest of his team was far from competitive, and even still, after making the real-life Baron Davis trade, the Cavaliers would struggle. Because even with LeBron taking over in the postseason, not only helping sweep Atlanta in round 1, but then in the second round to go toe-to-toe with the Dwight Howard Magic, eventually coming out after 7 games. In the end, that was all for nothing come the conference finals, where they would have a run-in with Derrick Rose and his Bulls. And in this reality, the rivalry between Chicago and LeBron would look very different. Without D-Wade and Bosh backing him, the offensive explosion from Derrick, combined with the Bulls' great defense, would overwhelm the Cavs, leading to Chicago eliminating Cleveland from the playoffs, meaning LeBron now missing the finals in 2011 was the first change in this reality, which would be the first of many, because as the finals still result in a championship going to the Dallas Mavericks, that could very well be the last thing staying the same for a while. LeBron's decision to stay in Cleveland will undoubtedly have a domino effect in the NBA for years to come, with new franchises becoming perennial contenders, players having different narratives in new homes, and even some new look rivalries totally redefining the game as we know it. Although for now, our focus shifts to the 2011 draft, where all eyes are waiting for Cleveland's second overall pick, as they were expected to take the young Kyrie Irving. But the Cavs had other plans, trading the pick for an all-NBA point guard Deron Williams, with the idea to provide LeBron with some firepower right away as they were in full win-now mode. And it looked like it may have worked, because after teaming up with the very best teammate he's had in his career so far, LeBron was unleashing one of his best seasons to date, scoring 30 a night en route to winning his 3rd MVP of his career. So everything was looking great, with Williams averaging nearly 10 assists a night, making life for LeBron incredibly easy, and the Cavaliers would win 54 games on the year. However, that may not matter, facing off against the Bulls again in the second round, where Rose was looking to make a statement after murmurs that Deron Williams' addition would be enough for the Cavs to win this time. So with him now healthy in this reality, Derrick would add more fuel to the fire for this budding rivalry, once again defeating LeBron in the playoffs, and for James, the doubts were rising on his ability to win.
And it finally all caught up with him, because I think the MVP suddenly realized when the clock ran out that he had failed miserably.
Luckily though, there was a bright side, because following the Bulls defeating the Spurs in the NBA Finals, it looked as if the Cavs were securing a long-term All-Star next to LeBron, as Deron Williams was expected to decline his player option in favor of signing a long-term deal with the Cavaliers. Except Cleveland would stab him in the back and regress on their interest in negotiating a long-term contract, and while they may be painted as villains, they did it for good reason.
Greatest leader, to play this game, but he's been a bucket for a very long time.
And we give a lot of guys credit for a mid-range game, but Chris Paul gets to the elbow, you're in trouble.
Because he's a top 5 point guard already now, whether he wins the championship or not. I don't think.
Cleveland decided to pass on Williams as they jumped on the opportunity to pair Chris Paul alongside LeBron James, now creating one of the most electrifying dynamic duos in the entire NBA, and their play styles worked off of each other flawlessly. Chris Paul was the dream fit, whether they were working together in the 2-man game or if Paul took control of the game as a scoring punch. Either way was a much needed support for LeBron, who was taking full advantage of yet another upgrade at the PG position, continuing to get easy looks for his teammate, but also finding him for opportunities of his own. And while it was an effort from both stars to land the top seed, LeBron would shine the brightest. LeBron with another MVP, the 4th of his career now, all with Cleveland. 26, 8.5, 6.5, good defensive stats, really good year for LeBron, teaming up with CP3. This is by far his best chance to win a ring yet. And everything seemed to be going as planned, because after losing to them 2 years in a row, this time the Cavs were finally in the driver's seat against the Bulls, who would still go on to win 2 of the games, but finally Cleveland would come out on top, with Paul's addition being just the push they needed. Except come the conference finals, there would be a new hurdle in the way. Thanks to Anderson Varejao being out this series with injury, Dwight Howard would in turn feast in the paint against a Cavs roster lacking any rim protection. So despite the best efforts from both CP3 and James, after only taking 1 game at home, this series would be a monumental letdown, with Dwight blowing the Cavs out the water the next 4 games straight, eventually getting things done to move on to the NBA Finals, only to lose to the Thunder in 5 games, as Kevin Durant now wins a championship in OKC in this reality. And as for LeBron, he has now played 10 years without a ring, but with the narratives forming, he still had his confidence going forward.
And, at the end of the day, it's competition. Just try to put yourself in the best possible chance to win, and that's it. All the other storylines really don't matter to me. I just want to win, and I have to be there for my teammates to help them succeed.
So with the desperation to win, LeBron would go into that offseason looking to perfect his game, putting in the extra time to train with hopes that it will pay off, as the Cavs were running back with more or less the same roster and only minimal changes to some of the supporting cast. But this time with everyone healthy, the playoffs would look far different, winning the first 2 rounds after 6 games apiece. And then in a matchup with the Hawks in the conference finals, it was finally starting to feel like LeBron's time was here, because in one of the most impressive conference final showings we've ever seen, King James would lead the charge for his team over Atlanta, and nothing they tried on defense could slow him down, winning this series in a full-blown sweep, finally returning to the finals after 7 long years.
Basketball's biggest stage, the NBA Finals. It begins here, and on tap tonight, it's the Cleveland Cavaliers going up against the Minnesota Timberwolves.
And with this one underway, this could be LeBron's most challenging series yet, up against a young Wolves team who have built a big 3 of Kawhi, Harden, and Kevin Love. So it wouldn't be a huge shock that on the home floor for the first game, they'd have the edge to take an early lead in the series. But LeBron has been in this situation before back in 07. So with that said, in game 2, he would be playing his very best, locked in from start to finish, and even with the great defender Leonard on him, he'd do what he needs in order to tie the series back up. And then once the series shifted back up to Cleveland for games 3 and 4, the difference in each team's experience was becoming more obvious, with the veteran Chris Paul putting on a show in his first finals appearance of his career, helping LeBron take a commanding 3-1 lead in the finals. And while he could almost taste the championship, he has to remember this one isn't over yet, because in Game 5, back in their home turf, the Wolves will have a huge game of their own, led by Kawhi Leonard, extending the series at least 1 more game. But that would only delay the inevitable, as LeBron recognizes the stakes at hand, and with his best finals performance of all time, would finally be making that leap that we all knew would only be a matter of time.
It's over! It's over! Cleveland is a city of champions once again! The Cavaliers are NBA champions!
Winning his first NBA championship of his career, which would be even more special by doing it with his home team that drafted him. And while we may not realize it in the moment, we had just witnessed the start of an epic rivalry. As in the start of the next season, the Cavaliers would improve their roster by adding an all-star Al Horford after moving on from Varejao. And with a continually improving roster landing the first seed in the East, paired with LeBron James claiming his 5th MVP trophy of his career, it was widely expected that Cleveland would make it back to the finals, running through the Eastern Conference without issues for a rematch of last year. Yet again, Kawhi and his Timberwolves were waiting here, but this time Harden would be swapped out with Russell Westbrook, which would create a reuniting duo from UCLA with Kevin Love. And their already established chemistry would make a huge difference on the court. Westbrook's athleticism, paired with Kevin Love's all-around scoring, would make this year's Minnesota team much more dangerous. And if the Cavs hadn't added Al Horford into the mix, this one could have gotten ugly quickly. But instead, it would be Cleveland's veteran Big 3 clashing head-to-head with the Wolves' young Big 3. And as the Cavs would have one big game to take home a win, the Wolves would instantly retaliate to reclaim the momentum on their side, continuing this trend back and forth until everything was knotted up for a Game 7.
Welcome, everyone, to NBA Finals Game 7. Winner take all. A season of joy and pain will end here tonight.
So with the stage set, this would be LeBron's biggest game of his career, and it was an opportunity to establish a legacy for himself if he's able to execute in the most intense moment possible in sports. In a do-or-die game, this is where legends would be made. And as this one goes the distance, we're about to see if LeBron can fill those shoes. Game 7 of the NBA Finals, win or go home in a tied game, just over 2 minutes remaining. Anything can happen here. LeBron is tired with a Gatorade cup, and he still drives to the paint, draws the foul. Great offensive possession for LeBron, but he has to hit these free throws. Hit the first. He does end up hitting the second to give the Cavaliers a 2-point lead. Minnesota now on the other end. Russell Westbrook bringing the ball up. The smaller Chris Paul on him. This has been a trouble the entire series. Russ driving in on Chris. Going into the post, they kick it over to Drew Holiday, who, by the way, they have on this roster. Andre Drummond coming for the screen. Drew to layup, a quick move. That's off. He blows that possession. Chris Paul on the break. CP3. Russ on him. Chris Paul slowing things down. Trying to drive it on Russ. He gives it to Horford to get to King James. LeBron with whoever this guy is on him, a small fella. LeBron to the paint, his lane. LeBron gives him a 4-point edge with a minute and a half to go. The Timberwolves still trying to claw back into this one, though. There's plenty of time. Westbrook, his layup on the other end, cuts it back down to 2. The Cavaliers, again, they love this matchup. No Kawhi. LeBron blows by this guy. The Wolves desperately need to get Kawhi back in the game. I don't know if he's fouled out or what, but this is not working for them late in the game 7. Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul and him again. A minute 15 remaining in this game. The Cavaliers have a 4-point advantage late. Russ trying to push through. Chris Paul to open 3 for Drew. That's off. LeBron James the rebound. He's off to the races. LeBron, the paint is wide open. LeBron, a tough lay. He blows it with the rebound. The putback is good. 6-point advantage. The Timberwolves are in desperation mode. They're not using a timeout. Trailing by 6. You have to score quick here. Andre Drummond with the screen. They find Drummond in the paint. His dunk puts it back down to 4. Kawhi is in fact fouled out. I did check. Chris Paul now. The Wolves have to play without their star. They fouled Danny Green. It was a good foul by Minnesota. Danny Green did miss the first free throw. Still a 4-point lead for the Cavs, though. Free throw number, he blows both. Danny Green blows both. The Timberwolves with the ball now. 38 seconds left in the game. Drew Holiday for 3. Bang! And just like that, it is only a 1-point game. The Cavaliers lead has diminished before our eyes. Chris Paul with the basketball, getting the screen from Horford. Chris Paul gets over to the right to LeBron, the smaller matchup. LeBron, his hook from deep. It's off. It's off. LeBron misses. Timeout. What a monumental collapse from Cleveland here. Only up by 1 now in game 7. 22 seconds left. The Timberwolves have the basketball. LeBron was wide open and failed to execute. Russ coming on the screen for K-Love. Russ to pull up 3. It's off. K-Love fight for LeBron. Does get the board. Chris Paul, they foul. CP3 is a great free throw shooter. He hits the first. The second one to put them up by 3. I don't know that the Timberwolves have any more timeouts. It doesn't look like they do. They're going to have to go off the inbound. Down 3. 8.4 left in this game. Russell Westbrook, not the best 3-point shooter. If he shoots, you're going to hey, it's not Kevin Love. Anyone but Kevin Love. It's off. It's off. The Cavaliers hang on to win it. And as Cleveland hangs on, they would be crowned as repeat champions, putting LeBron in a completely new light in this reality. Now having a 2-1 finals record with all signs pointing to more success, but we're not going to beat around the bush. Kawhi Leonard's time would come soon enough.
Well, it really is one of the most anticipated finals in NBA history. Never happened before. 2 teams, 3 straight finals.
For the 3rd year in a row, we had a duel between the Cavs and Wolves, with a full-blown rivalry underway. Except this time, the atmosphere was different. Kawhi was on fire to start the series off, on both ends of the floor as he took on the defensive assignment LeBron, disrupting his rhythm to create easy looks for the Wolves, resulting in a daunting 2-0 lead in favor of Minnesota, which was the biggest deficit LeBron's faced since 2007. But most Cavs fans were still optimistic that Cleveland would come back with nothing to worry about, especially after the following 2 games looked like a shift of momentum, with King James leading his group, tying everything up after 4 games. However, that would be very short-lived, because just as quick as they lost it, the Wolves were taking back control of these finals, which would be a hole that the Cavs weren't able to claw back out of, ending the 3rd installment of this rivalry in a win for the Timberwolves, claiming their first franchise championship as Kawhi begins his own legacy as the finals MVP. And as for LeBron, this loss here could be signaling the start of a bad stretch for the Cavs, since the next season would end with disappointment again. as the Wolves defeat them back-to-back, appearing to be sweeping the rug from under Cleveland to start a dynasty of their own in Minnesota. Which was bad news for Cleveland, with Horford slowing down as he gets older and the depth for the Cavaliers dwindling year by year, finding Cleveland with their worst finish in the standings in over a decade. And while Cleveland is regressing, other teams around the league were improving drastically, developing their youth and making improvements through free agency and trades. Most notably the Pelicans, who have acquired Stephen Curry after things haven't panned out for him in Golden State, which created a dynamic duo with Giannis, who New Orleans drafted years ago. Meaning all of a sudden, the Cavs were no longer looked at as legit contenders. And other teams were taking advantage, starting this season with the Charlotte Hornets led by Joel Embiid, who in round 2 of the playoffs would use their overwhelming size to put a halt to the Cavaliers' incredible 4-year finals run, further solidifying the Wolves dynasty as they go on to defeat that very Hornets team in the finals, finishing out their three-peat, the first since Shaq and Kobe. All the while LeBron will go on to have one of his best seasons, with hopes of carrying his team back to the pinnacle before their window to contend shuts completely, only to run into the New York Knicks in the second round, where LeBron was facing fellow draftee Carmelo Anthony, who has teamed up with a now all-star Zach LaVine, creating an elite scoring punch in New York, which was going to be too much for the Cavs to compete with, as the Knicks eventually make their way to the NBA Finals, where they would shock the world after finally winning a championship. But LeBron wouldn't be discouraged, prepared to do whatever for his team the following year.
I got to be the leader of this team every night I step on the floor. Try to command these guys and put them in the right positions to be successful. And then I got to do it on both ends. And if I do that, we got a good chance.
Which would apparently be everything come the postseason, scoring a blistering hot 34 points a game during the playoffs, all while leading his team in points, rebounds, steals, and blocks. Only missing out on leading the team in assists, which would go to Chris Paul, who by this point wasn't the same superstar level PG as he was in past championship runs, but he could still hold his own on the court. Additionally, the Cavs were able to add a 34-year-old Aldridge to the roster, and while he was another old vet added to the group, LeBron would take advantage to even the slightest help added to his team. And back with a highlight-filled playoff run.
Screen set for LeBron James. Going to work, fires, leaning. Come on up! Away goes! Walk off! Playoff!
He would be defying the odds to make yet another finals appearance. Except this time, it would be up against a new opponent. DeMarcus Cousins was this season's MVP, and he had just led his team past the favorite Timberwolves. And he wasn't alone. Also paired with DeMar DeRozan, having his best season of his career, with his scoring off the charts during these finals, as Cleveland struggles to find a defensive matchup to slow him down, reminding the Cavs that new younger teams are taking over as they go up 2-0. But for LeBron, with his back against the wall again, he wasn't worried in the slightest.
I feel confident because I'm the best player in the world. That's simple.
In a come-from-behind sweep of the next 4 games, LeBron James and his Cavs have defied all the odds and overcame all the doubts, winning championship number 3 for LeBron James. But this Cavaliers celebration couldn't last for too long, because Chris Paul was stunning everybody, moving on to Miami in free agency, teaming up with Jokic at South Beach to ironically now leave LeBron high and dry in Cleveland, the same way he did this organization in real life. And with Horford officially at the back end of his career, LeBron had by far his worst roster since his first years in the league. But while some were assuming his career was coming towards the end after missing the playoffs, LeBron was prepared to prove everyone wrong one last time. And he would have some new hope to do so after the Cavs drafted Cade Cunningham with the 2nd pick after a 14th seed finished the year before. And not only that, but after Horford's contract expired, they were able to use the money for Gobert. And even more, the Cavs had this year's most improved player, as Jalen Brunson, who they drafted a couple years back, was finally breaking out as an all-star caliber option. But the biggest story of the season was easily the fact that LeBron James, at 37 years old, was having his best season of his entire career. With him fully aware that his opportunities to compete for more rings was limited, he would come out and not only win the MVP of the league for a record-setting 7th time, but he'd also claim the honors of the Defensive Player of the Year, silencing the doubters as he proves even in year 19, he's still the best best player in the world. And in the end, they'd make it to the conference finals against a Luka Doncic Nets team, only for it to be one of the easiest series of the year, as LeBron has a chance for a 4th ring. But who else would be in his way other than an old rival, the Minnesota Timberwolves, who, for context, had just won the NBA championship last season and were now looking to repeat. And while this would be an excellent chance for a cinematic battle of rivals, it would be far from that, as LeBron was turning back the clock, and in a moment with the most to prove, LeBron was reminding everybody just how great he was, winning ring number 4 for his career, capping off the perfect season. And with such a young, solid core, you have to imagine that he very well could surpass his 4 rings from real life, although he'd have far less time to accomplish that than you'd expect, as he announced the 2023 season would be his last, having already achieved far more in his career with 7 MVPs, 2 Defensive Player of the Years, and having landed the most points of all time. There wasn't much left for him to prove, so in one last run, he'd make it back to the NBA Finals, where he'd face a very fitting opponent for his last bow, Stephen Curry, who in this reality hasn't ran into LeBron yet, but now with a Clippers team built around him with guys like Sabonis and Scotty Barnes, he was sure to give LeBron a run for his money, because this was no walk in the park. Even with Cleveland holding the best record in the NBA, the Cavs would be applying all the pressure, finding everything knotted up after 4 games. And then a crucial Game 5, where the winner will likely win the series, LeBron would be put up to one final test, with the possibility of winning his 5th ring up in the air late. More often than not, the team that goes on to win Game 5 in a series wins the series. So this is huge for the Cavaliers, who are currently trailing 1 to the Los Angeles Clippers. LeBron James going for ring 5. He has the ball. 2 minutes left in his game. Like I said, trailing. Driving to the left. The step back. LeBron to pull up. That one is off. Tyrese Halliburton with the ball. They have Halliburton, Curry, Sabonis. They have a squad. And Cleveland is looking to get a stop here. Jalen Brunson on Steph, who is still searching, on the hunt for his first NBA championship. Jared Sullinger with the ball. Rudy Gobert is guarding him. Sabonis trying to come around the screen here. They do find Sabonis. Steph moving off the ball. 4 seconds left in the shot clock. This is a good defensive possession for Cleveland. Sabonis, a pull-up 3. That one rims out. With a minute and a half left in this game, Cade Cunningham now has the basketball. Tyrese Halliburton is guarding him. It looks like it's going to be a post-up for LeBron. LeBron down low in the post. They bring the double. LeBron's hook shot. He gives him the lead. He missed that exact shot years ago. Makes up for it now to put Cleveland in the driver's seat. Steph Curry now on the other end of the basketball court. Jalen Brunson is guarding him. Steph serving the field, looking for an opportunity. They go to Tyrese Halliburton. Cade Cunningham, the young star, is on him. Johnson in the corner with King James guarding him. He's getting the screen. Out of bounds, out of bounds. A massive mistake from the Clippers. Now we have to see if Cleveland can take advantage. LeBron James with the ball. It's all LeBron down the stretch. 16 seconds left. LeBron to drive. LeBron hops into the paint. His layup. It's good. It's good. Rattles around, rolls the rim, and finds the bottom of the net. The 3-point lead for the Cavaliers. Steph Curry, though, with it. Timeout Clippers. This game is, in fact, still not over yet, though. With 53 seconds left and Steph Curry on the court, anything is possible down the stretch of this game. They get it inbounded to Steph. You have to watch out for the threes. Get in the screen. Curry, Brunson on him. Great defense from Jalen Brunson. LeBron the steal. King James in his final season. A huge defensive play. He maintains the ball. He doesn't want to give it up. It's all LeBron over Sullinger. And the foul! LeBron James delivers. What a moment for LeBron. At the end of his career in a massive Game 5. 6-point advantage. Curry to pull up 3. That is actually insane. 29 seconds left. It's still not over. That 3 from Steph, they don't even have to foul here. They can opt to play defense. Curry with an insane pull-up. They're not going to foul, but they are trying to trap in a half court. LeBron's got to get across. He barely does. LeBron slowing it down now. The Clippers are going for the stop here. LeBron slowing things down. 5 seconds separate shot clock and game clock. 8 seconds remaining here. An opportunity for LeBron for the dagger. The screen from Rudy Gobert. LeBron coming around that screen. The pull-up 3. Oh, I thought it was going to go. Clippers timeout. I was so ready for that shot to drop. I was so ready. 5 seconds left. 3-point game. You have to watch Steph. You have to watch Steph Curry. They get it to Halliburton. Sabonis. This is who you want. Sabonis. It's off. The Cavs are advancing. I didn't want to jinx that. I was going to say they're advancing to Game 6 with a 3-2 lead, but Gobert was on the line. He hit the first free throw. This one is absolutely over. And as LeBron wins this game, he can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Only needing one more win to earn his 5th championship, he will leave it all on the floor in Game 6, knowing it's the last time he'll ever take the NBA hardwood, and in the perfect send-off of his career, King James would be crowned as an NBA champion for a 5th time, as a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers for his entire career, adding Cleveland to the list of all-time NBA dynasties. And as we look back on all that he's accomplished here, I think it's safe to say LeBron James will go down as the greatest player of all time.